Hello, viewer, and welcome back to Games with Dialogue. This is episode 28 of my RPG Maker series. Last time, I ran into a few problems with my testing. It's fine. It's fine. I think I've worked out most of the kinks. Let's dive in and I'll show you what I've done before we move on. Okay, so I changed up this guy. So let's see, where is it? Event touch fixed. There he is. He won't move until you activate the fight. This guy still comes at you. I changed this guy so he has a route now around these pillars. This guy should stay where he's at. Fixed. Good. The quartermaster I haven't changed. He stands where he is. What I should do, I'm thinking what I should do is either move him to be in front of this walkway, have him do a little patrol route around, or have him stand where he is, and then when the player interacts with one of the chests, he just rushes at him. I'm not sure. The player has to come to him, so it doesn't really matter what I do with him. The player has to come to him to get further in the... I'm thinking he doesn't really need to move around. He can stay where he's at. Just chill out. The guy who was over here by the bunk... Well, not the bunk bed. The barracks chest. I moved him over here and made him invisible. When the player interacts with the chest, a switch will be triggered to activate him to rush the player and engage in combat. This hole I left where it is. It's not for use. Second floor. Oh yeah, I also forgot. I did go back in. Let me actually do that right now. Tile sets. I went to dungeon and I went to, where was it? D. All of these are set open that players can walk over. I have to go in and change all of them. I changed these ones, like the pillars, to stars so that you can walk behind them. But yeah, they're all set to be walked over. That's not helpful for me at all. At all. I'll leave that open for the future. But that's something else I did. Apply, close, save. Let's see what else. I changed up some of these people. These two are just going to stay where they're at. This guy will walk around just in the room now. He doesn't follow the player. This guy's pathing I should have fixed. I haven't tested it, but I went in and I looked at it. So he shouldn't get off route. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I also set up an event down here in the bottom that it plays a sound effect for the floor. Now, you don't have to do this. If I go to the actual map, I could go to autoplay BGS. But if for some reason I decide I want it to play until you engage with the commander, and then after that, after you beat him in battle, the wind stops or the background music stops, I could add that into the event. So it's just there in case I change my mind about something in the future. And then the dungeon, I did the same thing. I added an event, but this time the screen's tinted. Hopefully, I haven't, like I said, I haven't tested it yet, but hopefully these light sources actually create light in this tinted basement, just to give it a feel of a more claustrophobic, a darker feel. Speaking of events for the maps, I went back to the mountain pass and set up one for a weather effect. Now it should snow in the foreground. I've been debating whether or not to add sound to it. Wave and wind I could use in the future. Especially for the upcoming... Let me close this out real quick and go there. Especially for the upcoming map over here by the boat. I could set up a wave, an ocean feel to it. But it is pretty limited. So for now, the mountain pass stays with just the snow. If I go back to the logging hamlet, I've also got an event set up here. This is for background music, which changes from the default background music that I have set up. Sorrow plays initially when the player shows up because everybody's been captured and dragged off to the outpost. Once you defeat the commander and the switch goes over, then the background music changes. Also the screen tints, but the way I have this particular screen tint, it's to make it appear more like dusk. The sun is setting. What I want, I was debating this before we even started. What I want to do is have it tinted for sunset when you first arrive, and after you rescue the people, then it goes back to bright and sunny and happy, and everything's right with the world. So that's the idea. I've also set up the horses and these doors, the little flower girl, and one of the children to trigger off of the commander being beaten, defeated, to actually be on the map. You can go into the rooms and find some more of the homeowners. You can go into... Let me open it up here. Eldenvale Inn. 2 other people will spawn up here. What I'm thinking is I'll get rid of these 2 people here. I'll have the old woman meet the player at the gate after the rescue. Fade in, and they're here in the back with her, and she'll explain what happened, why they were captured, and maybe how to interact with the statue in the square outside. She's got to be important for the next step of the story, and I've got something I want to do with the statue. I don't want to explain it just yet. Not until I set it up. Actually, that changed from Eldenwood to Eldenvale. In addition... Oh, right. There were 2 other things I was working on in preparation for this episode. One was a event for leveling up. If you remember last time, there was no notification. So I decided, I figured a common event that calls up every time you level up would be the best way to go. The problem is, I'm going to actually just click on one person. The problem is, I haven't really delved too deep into figuring out how to make it work. There's a variable I can set, and you can see right here, Gil's level, when he levels up. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it. I've actually got to sit down and figure out how I'm going to make this work. There are a couple plugins I found in my web searching, but I don't know. Using plugins to me feels like cheating if I can't figure out how to do it myself. Maybe there's no way to do it through the base tools that the RPG Maker provides, but I want to find that out on my own before I go to a plugin. There's really only 2 plugins that at this point, that I feel comfortable using. One of them is to animate the monsters, and the other one is show a splash screen made with MV. No, that wasn't it. That's just there for flavor. Displays a battle result window instead of text message. That's what I'm looking for. That'll help it display XP gained. That'll help display money and items earned from bad guys in battle. It might also show XP level ups. I'm not quite sure. But there was also weapon skills. That's the other one I was thinking of. But that's for later on in the game. There was one other thing I wanted to show you guys that I was working on. What was it? Before I get back to building and playtesting. Let me go back. What was it? I can't remember. Oh, right. I remember. Okay. So let me go to text box, face, and let's see. I made Gilgamesh. There we go. I made a couple of different emotions for them. Since I don't have full made pictures, Gilgamesh is more stoic, as his default face shows. So he's harder to read, I guess. As you can see here, a slight frown and eyebrows raised makes him worried. Whereas when he's angry, it's a lot easier to tell. Versus, who was the other one I worked on? I actually worked on Solomon. There we go. Solomon's a lot more expressive. He's got the surprise, angry, he's happy with himself, and then sad. I haven't done anything for Elizabeth or Joan yet. I don't like the name Joan. I'm going to work on it. But Joan is also pretty expressive. I'm also deciding whether or not I want to change her hairstyle. It's just too similar to Gil's, I think. Anyways, we'll come back to that in the future. That's something I'm working on the side. That and the level up script. So, with all that done, let's go back to Logging Hamlet and work on Elden Vale version B once you defeat the commander. And then when we end the episode, we'll do another playtest. So I've got the doors here, which work. That's fine. Transfer player, I don't have the map set up yet. This door should do the same thing, but that's what I was working on for here. So the doors are the same. And the two store owners are married, so they've got one separate room here. I want to put another room back here. I'm thinking that will be the storage room, but that means I need to crush down to keep the dimensions appropriate, or at least kind of, sort of similar. So I'll save this, and we'll set up the transport for the doors. And actually, I could set up the event now. I'll do that. Sure. Let's set up the event for the store seller pre-rescue version A. Who do I want? I like the blue hair. This is pretty standard. Maybe one of these. Well, we're rescuing her husband. Well, no, I don't like this mystic. That. I'll go back to. You know, I'm gonna go with the tried and true traditions of the forebears of RPG makers. All the shopkeepers that are women look the same. All the shopkeepers that are men look the same. The innkeeper looks the same. Same sprites for all of that, just to keep things uniform. Fine. Fine. I don't like it, but I am working with a limited palette. When you're working with a limited palette, what is that saying? When all you have is a hammer. So this will be Elden Vale item shop keeper. She's fixed. Action button will do. We'll do action button. And then activate. Let's see, where was the store? I don't have these memorized yet. Shop processing, there we go. Merchandise. Queue portions, yes. Price standard, sure. Okay, next. Mystic water, price standard, sure. Adrenaline. We'll also do H portions. Well, it's a little early in the game for those. Rewind glass, pick me up. You know, rewind glass. We also don't need any like items to heal status effects because we haven't encountered any enemies that will do status effects just yet. Okay. Mystic Water M seems a little early for those. I'm all right with these. The 3 we have. Let's do, since she's taking over the care of the equipment shop until you rescue her man, she should have some of the items. I'm gonna give Woodcutter's Axe. I'm gonna give the price on that needs to change. Yeah, the price on that needs to change. I didn't do that. Let's see. Woodcutter's Axe, Oak Cane. Thank you. That also needs to be fixed. I don't know. It's a weird balancing act. The items are always going to be useful. At least that's the hope. The weapons and armor start out pretty inexpensive because you're going to be spending most of your money gearing up 4 people. You need to buy duplicates of stuff and items. So I don't feel bad about keeping the equipment. That one, sure. I don't feel bad about keeping the equipment cheap and making items so expensive, because you got to balance out how you're spending your cash, and you're equipping 4 people. And we'll do lumberjack overalls, sure. Yeah. Maybe in the future, stuff will be more expensive, and I will have more treasure chests in the map that give the gear. So you're only really paying for, let's see, lumberjack overall, hard hat, there we go. Yeah, you're only really paying for 1 or 2 people, and the rest of the gear you're finding out in the dungeons. That makes sense to me. But for now, you're spending most of your wealth gearing your people up. Should I have a shield? I'll do work boots. Yeah. Yeah, that completes the trifecta. Okay. Sure. Let's see. She should say something, shouldn't she? If you're gonna buy stuff from her, there should be like a text message, right? Let's see. So this is after everyone's been captured. So she should be surprised. Yeah. That one, and then maybe something like, okay. And then I can have, you know what? I'm going to do a switch so that new event page, self switch A. There we go. And then cut and paste. There we go. Now she'll only say it once. And we can actually have an entire conversation with her. Yeah. So I can have an entire conversation with her, and the player can learn what's going on, where everybody else is, what they have to do to make it right. And then the self switch will come over to the shop, and we don't have to go through that whole conversation every time we have a talk with her. That's fine. And then we should have, let's see, new event page, switch, clear out. That's when we defeat the commander and everything goes back to normal and everybody's happy and the world is right again. So we'll have a separate shop set up for that one, which I'm not going to go into just yet. But she'll also probably say something like, that should be sweet, right? Should be a nice sentiment. Then we have the shop processing. Yeah. Trigger, action button. Apply. Sure. And then we'll have him come up over here. Whoop. That's the wrong spot for it. Let's put him right there. I think it was people? Nope. That's the innkeeper. Ah, here we are. People 4. Okay. He will only show up after clear out is done. Good. And we can set up processing for him. And now we set up all the equipment. Oak spear. Sure. Woodcutter's axe. Not really a need for that, because if you buy it before you go into the outpost, only one person can use it. But you know, it's a little bit more. Yeah, it's just there. It's just there. If you accidentally sell it or whatever reason you want a second one, it's there for that. Let's see, hunter knife, I think. Yeah. And then the bow. Where'd it go? Small game bow. There we go. And then we'll add the armor later. I just want to get that in. Let's see. Show text. Gotta give him a name, right? Shoot. I forget. He had a name, and I forgot it. Let me check real quick. All right, that's better. I also should make a note, because I have the jail version. There we go. Freed. Yeah. You know, oh boy. I just realized I need a blank. There we go. And then delete this one. There. So it's blank until he's freed, and then it shows up. I think I'm not quite sure, but I think if I have the event just this page with the switch, he'll still be visible. I think I need an invisible until the switch is triggered, and then he'll show up. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to bother testing it right now, but there we go. So we have the 2 shopkeepers, okay? Let's set up the transport. Where is it? Transfer to the map. Logging hamlet, right outside. Direction retain, because you're only going in one direction. Sure. Same with over here. Transfer. Outside. Right there. Good. All right. That room's set up. What do I want to do now? I'm not done, but what do I want to do now? Oh yeah, the home. All right, let's set up a transfer point real quick. Which home is this going to be? So this is a pretty nice, fancy home. There's 2 beds, so we have a husband, wife, and kid that really only leaves me with 1 person. And that's going to be in the middle here. There we go. Direction retain. Let me go back to the dungeon. And it was these 2. Eldenvale Mother and Susan Eldenvale, right? Little girl. I want to make sure I get that one right. Okay, so let's go. What am I going to do with her? She could be outside playing around. She's tired of being cooped up. But the mom, well, you know what? That's fine. The mom I'll just have putter around inside. I can't remember what... Which one was she? Shoot, which one was she? This one? I can't remember. I think I made her this one. Eldenvale Mother. Note. Freed. There we go. So, random? Normal. Trigger, player touch, and she'll say something. What can she say? This leads me into something that I've been racking my brain about. The player characters are the ancestors. What I wanted to do is make it clear that they were the first humans. All of humanity came from them. So they should be easily recognizable by everybody. Depending on, like, if there's statues, if there's paintings, or depictions of them. So everybody they interact with should be, like, in awe. It's like meeting a celebrity, only this celebrity is Albert Einstein, or Benjamin Franklin, or Abraham Lincoln to us. So I should be weaving more of that surprise and awe into text messages. So I think, well, I don't have to make a separate one. I can just put that down. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's a little better. But yeah, that's why I wanted to take a second pass at the dialogue, because as I build out the game, things like that occur to me, and I have to go back and rewrite things. So, since I'm planning on rewriting most of the dialogue anyways, I can just go back and do a hard pass on every event, every text box. So the inn is the only other one I'll work on this, and then we'll do a test, because I think I'm running a bit long. Or I will run a bit long. I'll set up this mystery event with the statue, and I'll show it off at the beginning of next episode, what my intention is, because that will lead into our next map and further story. But for now, let's set up this, and then we'll do a test run. So I have the Eldenvale Innkeeper. There we go. Okay. Oh no, wait. She's right. I got the event wrong. This is the Eldenvale. This is the innkeeper interaction, I think. Let me... Oh, I also spelled that wrong. Keeper. There we go. Nope, that's not right. He's in the wrong spot. There we go. Innkeeper event. A. I'll do A, because it'll change when the commander's defeated and the whole town returns. But this is to catch the player as they walk in. She will act surprised. Oh dear, visitors, you should not be here. Player turns towards her and continues speaking. She doesn't do anything, but eventually you'll be able to pay for a room. You know what? Actually, let me add that in before I forget. Where is it? There should be... I really should make that a common event. Sleeping at an inn, because I don't want to have to go through and set that up from scratch every single time. So I'll leave it alone for now. But the gist is, you talk to her. Eventually, she'll agree to let you spend the night. For an upcharge, of course. And then we'll have a switch in place. Actually, I will put that in now, because I will forget. After you defeat the commander and everybody comes back and everything, she will have a separate event. Where now she's more willing to let you stay, and it's easier to talk to her, and so on and so forth. It should also be cheaper to stay the night. Yeah, and then we'll have events set up for the player to come up here with the old woman. I'm thinking I should change this. You know what? I am going to do that. Let's cut these, because they were just random townspeople anyways. We'll put the old woman in. Where are you, old woman? There we go. Oh, but I don't know if I should do... her or just old woman. I like this one better. We're going to do that. And that'll be Eldenvale Mystic? Mystic. I like that. Mystic. Okay. No, you know what? Again, I made the same mistake again. She only shows up with the clear out. Otherwise, it's blank. So, none. There we go. And then she shows up with that. Where'd you go? There we go. Okay. So, from there, we'll have her do a little plot spilling on the players. So I'm going to actually change you to the Mystic Lady. There we go. Mystic, come on. There we go. I think it's fine just to have her look like this. Not to mention, if I have her look like this, I can change this woman or this woman to an old woman sprite. So I'm not overloaded with similar sprites in this map. Because as it stands now, I have 3 people who look the same. 3 mothers who look the same. I also don't have an elder of the town, but I don't think I need one of those. Well, I think that's where we'll end the episode today. I've got a lot to work on, and a lot more to do. I didn't get to the replay to check on the dungeon and what fixes I've put in. That'll have to be for another time. Until then, thank you everyone for joining me. Stay safe, and God bless you.